related, but I understand.
Yeah, but it talks about visibility. It doesn't talk about generating a different image. It's just how much light of the object comes to your eyes or your camera.
Could you repeat that last part?
Yeah, I said that as it talks about visibility, we do not really care about how the object looks uh, underneath the lens and how the object looks in your eyes. You just need to see how much light of it comes into your eyes. Note what shapes it creates.
Okay. Lastly, you talked about one lens, but could you maybe tell us what do you think it would be the optimal like shape to the phenomenon to work? If it's one lens, if it's maybe two over, uh, I don't remember the word, but one on top of the other.
Oh, okay. One on top of the other doesn't seem to be a good case, but the chain building, let's say, the ideal lenticular lens is not only something which has to mess up with the lens, it's also, as we said in the second experiment, it's also the position uh, from the lens to your camera. But gener- generally, uh, messing with these values can give you the optimal lens, but that is not the uh, what the problem really stays. So we didn't have to choose what the ideal one was.
Okay, well, maybe I didn't explain it right, but what I'm trying to say is, well, you said that if you put an object that is on, if it's parallel to the stance of the lenses, you're gonna be able to see it. It has to be perpendicular. So,
Yeah.
what
Okay,
would you
that's
do,
true.
for example, if you're showing a cross? How would you make it disappear completely then?
Oh, if you if you have an object that looks like a cross, well, you cannot make it disappear completely with such a lens that only has the rays with the same direction. You need different lenses which all have different directions so that they can apply for each side of the cross. Do we say side? I think we do.
Okay,
Each line, let's say.
so you're confirming that if you put one lens, for example, that it's perpendicular and then one lens that it's parallel, it would work. So
It
over,
would work, but that is not just a lenticular lens. It's a system of many different lenticular lenses.
okay,
Thank
uh,
you, guys. Thank you very much. Time is up. Opponent, you have 1 minute to summarize the discussion.
I mentioned before starting, we congratulate the team for an outstanding understanding of the formulas used for this phenomenon. However, we still consider that they missed a little bit of the point on the question that was to investigate the variations of the lens, not exactly how does the lens work, but to what extent can it work if the shape or the composition varies. We consider that they should have shown their experimentation more than only showing the results or the process that took them there. We think that there are certain parameters that it could have make the experimentation more interesting, and well, it's pretty much that.
Okay, thank you. Now let's proceed to questions of the reviewer to the reporter and the opponent. Reviewer,
Thank you. So I'd like to ask first to the opponent if you think that a lenticular lens is not a lens which has the rear end flat, but that it could have it concave or something else as well.
I think that even though normally it's treated as a plain face with different lenses, it's not exclusively that. You could have a concave or a convex one, and it would still be a lenticular lens.
Thank you. Then I'd like to ask the reporter on how there was how did you measure the intensity for the visibility? Because there was a discussion on if there is a limit for it and what the parameter is.
So, how did we measure the visibility or the invisibility effect?
Well, you said that you measured the visibility by using the intensity of the light. So I'm wondering how did you measure the intensity of the light?
Yeah, we just used special equipment like devices that measure the intensity of light, and then we saw the relation of the outcomes and the outcomes that we had without the lenses.
Thank you. Then to the opponent, I'm wondering why do you think it is important for the visibility and visibility problem on whether the lens could project an image?
It was more of an extra, but it's an interesting extent of the problem because it's affecting the visibility of stuff because it's creating something that is actually not there, and it's a way of by altering the form of the lens, you could show like a deception of the image.
Thank you. And then to the reporter, I'm wondering what kind of errors were in your experimentation and if you had any and considered them for your graphs.
Well, there could have been some errors, but we did not pay too much attention to them because of the simplicity of the experiments we made. That is also why we didn't use any images. We could simply describe them, but maybe errors could be in the equipment we used to measure the light intensity. That's the only one I could think of.
Thank you so much. I'm good with questions.
Okay, thank you. You have 2 minutes to prepare your review.